I told my wife I heard moves like a Tuesday after she bragged about a younger man. So I filed now, saved the gate access log, removed her from my life insurance, had her served at Keaton's Loft, and got the divorce signed off, then got promo the gate access log popped up on my tablet while I was sitting in my truck. It showed our community code used at 118 a.m. The note beside it said guest entry confirmed. I read it twice, then a third time. I was not home at 118 a.m. My wife was. I'm Bram Ellery, 42, and I work for the state as an elevator safety inspector. I spend my days in tight shafts and machine rooms, checking cables, brakes, and emergency phones. When something is unsafe, I put a red tag on it and shut it down. That morning, I was parked near the riverfront in Paducah, waiting for a building manager to show up. I should have been thinking about my next inspection. Instead, I kept staring at that access log like it was a warning light. When I got home that night, the house smelled like lemon dish soap and warm bread. Our mudroom bench was covered in grocery coupons and a half-empty box of dryer sheets. The dehumidifier in the hallway hummed like it was trying to hide the silence. Tamsin Crowell, my wife, walked in from the kitchen with her hair tied up. She was 40, smart, and always put together, even in sweatpants. She worked at Riverbend Credit Union in fraud prevention where the rules were strict and mistakes got noticed. I kept my voice calm. I said, "Did you use the gate code at 118 last night?" That was confrontation 1. Her eyes dropped for a second, just a flicker. "I went for a drive," she said quietly, like she was testing how it sounded. Then she added, "I didn't want to wake you." "A drive through a gated entrance?" I asked, "at 118. She pressed her lips together. "It's not a crime, Bram," she said, still soft. "Can we not do this tonight?" I let it go, but it didn't leave me. A red tag doesn't mean much if you ignore it, and that log was a red tag on my marriage, even if I didn't want to admit it yet. 2 days later, Tamsin told me her friends were coming over Friday night. She said it like it was normal, like we were still a team. She also mentioned the credit union was finalizing a promotion list on Monday, and she was basically in. I nodded and smiled like a man who believed her. Inside, I felt that thin feeling again, the kind that tells you something is about to drop. Friday evening, I grilled chicken in the backyard while their laughter filled the house. I heard wine glasses clink and music play low. I told myself I was overthinking, and that thought was the biggest lie in the room. I went inside to grab a fresh bag of ice from the garage freezer. The laundry room door was half closed. Their voices slid through the crack like smoke. Tamsin's voice was the clear one. She sounded proud, not guilty. "I found a younger man who actually has energy," she bragged, and her friends made those little shocked sounds that aren't shocked at all. My hand froze on the ice bag. My chest went tight like a door slamming. Then Tamsin added, like it was a joke, "Bram is sweet, but he moves like a Tuesday." I didn't walk in. I didn't slam anything. I just stood there listening as they talked about my marriage like it was a group project. And in that moment, I knew I would not beg for a place in my own life. Here's practical advice 1, simple and true. If you overhear something that changes everything, don't rush into a fight. Get quiet, get clear, and protect your future first. Anger feels good for a minute, but paperwork lasts. I put the ice back in the freezer and walked outside like I needed more charcoal. I let the night air hit my face. Their laughter kept going, like I was already gone. Later, after they left, Tamsin came into the bedroom and slid into bed like nothing happened. She smelled like perfume and wine. She asked, "You okay?" without looking at me. I said, "I heard what you said in the laundry room." That was confrontation too. She went still, then tried a small smile. "You heard what?" she asked, soft and careful. I said, "You bragged about a younger man with energy." For a second, her eyes looked wet like she might admit it, then the switch flipped. "Oh my God," she snapped, loud and sharp, "you were eavesdropping." "I was getting ice," I said. "Don't turn this on me," she shot back. Her voice rose like a siren. You sit around in your same routine and you expect me to clap. I kept my tone flat. Who is he? I asked. She glared at me. His name is Keaton, she said, like saying it was a victory. He makes me feel alive. That should have been the part where she stopped. It wasn't. She leaned in and said, and before you act like a victim, I deserve some fun. I didn't shout. I didn't throw anything. I just looked at her and thought, this is not a marriage, this is a performance, and she just told me I'm the props guy. I slept in the guest room with the ceiling fan clicking. I stared at the dark and let the truth settle. My marriage had been running on old cables, and nobody had been checking the brake. Saturday morning, Tamsin left early with a gym bag. She didn't say where she was going. She just said, "Don't start," like I was the problem for not smiling. I waited until her car turned the corner. Then I opened the family desktop in my home office, the one we used for bills and calendars. The screen woke up to our shared schedule. There it was, clean and bold, a calendar entry for Saturday night. Keaton Loft 3B, 8:30 p.m., with an address on Jefferson Street in downtown Paducah. That was the location proof, and it felt like a nail through wood, not a rumor, not a guess. A planned trip on a shared calendar like it was just another errand. I took a photo of the screen with my work tablet. I didn't touch her accounts. I didn't hack anything. It was in plain view in a place we both used, and that matters when real life turns legal. Here's practical advice too. When you find proof, save it in a boring way. Screenshots, photos, and a simple folder with dates. Drama fades, but clear records don't. I printed the calendar page and put it in a manila folder. Then I sat at my desk and watched my hands stop shaking. That calm feeling came back, and this time it was useful. At noon, I drove to a coin laundromat that stayed open all night. It smelled like bleach and hot metal. In the back corner, under flickering lights, a woman in a dark coat waited with a file folder on her lap. Her name was Sable Dorrance. She was older, calm, and spoke like she had heard every excuse 100 times. People called her the best divorce attorney in town, and after 5 minutes I understood why. She didn't ask me to vent. She asked for facts. "How long married?" she said. "Assets," she said. "Any kids?" she said. When I told her no kids, she just nodded like that simplified the map. I told her about the bragging. I told her about Keaton. I told her about the gate access log and the calendar entry. Sable's face didn't change, not even a little. She said, "You're going to feel a strong pull to confront her again." Then she added, "Don't." She tapped the folder and said, "We file quiet, we secure accounts, and you update your will this week." That line hit hard. I had been so focused on divorce, I forgot death doesn't wait for clean timing. Sable said, "If something happens to you tomorrow, your wife controls more than you think." She let that sit, then said, "We fix that first." That afternoon, I updated my beneficiaries through my employer portal. I removed Tamsin from my life insurance and put my estate into a simple trust for my niece's education fund. Sable had an estate partner draft the will change fast, and I signed it Monday morning, clean and legal. I didn't do it to punish Tamsin. I did it because love is not a license to own someone, and Tamsin had been treating me like property. When I got home Sunday, Tamsin was on the couch scrolling her phone. She looked up like nothing had happened. "You've been distant," she said, like I was failing a test. I walked past her without answering. I went to the closet and found a stack of papers half hidden behind old holiday decorations. One folder had Keaton's name written on it in her neat hand. Inside was a signed document. It was a lease guarantor addendum for Keaton Rusk, Loft 3B, Jefferson Street. My wife had signed as a financial backer and attached a copy of our joint income summary. My mouth went dry. This was more than an affair. This was my life being used as a safety net for her new thrill. I took photos of every page. I didn't take the folder. I put it back where it was. Then I sat at the kitchen table and waited for the next drop. It came as a bank alert on Tuesday morning. Our joint account sent a notification for a new recurring transfer. $200 every Friday. The note said Keaton rent help. That was the money proof, and it landed like a slap. She was using our money to keep him close. She was funding the same loft where she bragged about his energy. I called Sable and read her the transfer note. She didn't react. She just said, "Good, that's clear." Then she said, "We file today." We filed for divorce that afternoon. Sable also filed a motion to protect marital funds because that recurring transfer was not just fun. It was financial entanglement with a third person, and judges don't love that. Now here's the mini hook that matters. I still didn't tell Tamsin I filed. I let the paper speak, because paper doesn't get gaslit. Sable arranged for a process server to serve Tamsin somewhere that matched the truth. Not at work, not at our door, at Keaton's loft. Friday evening, Tamsin told me she was meeting friends. She put on lip gloss and a light jacket like it was date night. She didn't ask if I wanted to go because I wasn't the point. I was already gone from the house. I stayed in a small upstairs room above a bicycle repair shop across town. It smelled like chain grease and cardboard. The neon sign outside buzzed and it felt like a reset button. Sable called me once. "It's happening," she said. Her voice was flat, like a weather report. I didn't watch it live. I didn't follow her. I didn't need a show. But the process server later gave Sable a short security clip from the building hallway camera included with the service confirmation. That clip was the killer receipt. It showed Tamsin at Keaton's door, smiling, holding a small gift bag. It showed the server step up, hand her the papers, and point to the signature line. And it showed Keaton crack the door, see what was happening, then shut it fast like she was suddenly a stranger. Tamsin's face in that clip was something I will never forget. At first it was confusion, then it was panic. Then it was rage so hot it looked like her skin tightened. Keaton didn't come back out. He didn't defend her. He didn't even open the door again. A younger man with energy and zero backbone when consequences knocked. 10 minutes later, my phone blew up with calls and texts. I didn't answer. Sable told me not to, so I didn't. A red tag means stop, and I was finally stopping. The next morning, Tamsin showed up at the bike shop stairs like a storm with lip gloss. She banged on the door until the owner threatened to call the police. I stayed quiet inside and let Sable handle it, like we planned. By Monday, the credit union heard about it. Not from gossip, from evidence. Tamsin had used our joint income summary for Keaton's lease, and that summary included bank-generated documents she had access to at work. Sable sent a clean packet to the credit union's compliance office. Just facts, no insults. The lease addendum, the recurring transfer alert, and the service clip location match. The bank opened an internal review by lunch. That was the official strike, and it was not my revenge. It was the result of her choices colliding with her code of conduct. In fraud prevention, you can't play loose with money and documents and expect no questions. A week later, Tamsin's friends went quiet. The same friends who laughed in my laundry room now had distance and boundaries. One of them was on the credit union board's volunteer committee, and nobody wanted their name near a scandal. The judgment line came from a board chair in a closed meeting, according to what Tamsin later texted Sable. "You don't get to use your husband like a wallet and call it empowerment." That one sentence did more damage than any argument I could have made. Then the small twist landed. Keaton sent Tamsin a message, and she accidentally forwarded it to the wrong thread, a family group that included my number before she remembered I was blocked. Sable got it instead. It read, "Don't come here again, this is too much." That was it. No sorry, no closure, just a door closing. Sable scheduled mediation at the county courthouse annex. The room had beige walls and a cold pitcher of water nobody touched. The air smelled like old paper and weak coffee. Tamsin walked in with red eyes and a tight jaw. She looked smaller without her friends, without Keaton, without the story she had told herself. She sat across from me like I was a stranger she used to own. Confrontation 3 started the second she spoke. "I never said any of that. she denied, fast and flat. You're twisting a girl talk moment into a whole case. Sable didn't interrupt. I didn't either. I just watched Tamsin try to rewrite a recorded week. Then Tamsin shifted to minimize. Okay, maybe I said he had energy, she muted, like that made it harmless. It was a dumb joke, Bram. You're acting like I committed a crime. Sable slid the folder across the table, 1 inch calm. Tamsin's eyes landed on the lease addendum photo. The color drained from her face just a little, then came partial admit. I helped him with his lease, she said, voice tight. He needed a place. I didn't think it would matter. I finally spoke. You helped him with our money, I said. You used our papers, and you bragged about him like I was a punchline. My voice stayed low, but each word had weight. Tamsin's shoulders dropped, then she went for the emotional move. Her eyes filled and her voice turned soft in that old way. I was lonely, she whispered. You're always at work, always inspecting, always checking, and I felt invisible. I took a breath. I didn't mock her. I didn't match her tears. I said, I was building a life with you. You were building a secret. Sable spoke once, sharp and simple. The settlement terms stand, she said, and the will is updated. That part is not negotiable. Her voice was so calm it made the room feel smaller. Tamsin flinched at the will part like it hurt more than the divorce. Maybe it did. Maybe she finally understood that the safety net was gone. We finished mediation in under 2 hours. I kept the house. She kept her car. We split the accounts under court rules and the judge signed off without drama. The red tag was on the door and nobody was turning it back on. 3 months later, I got promoted to lead inspector for my district. More buildings, more responsibility, more trust. I found it almost funny that my life got steadier the moment I stopped carrying someone else's chaos. Tamsin tried to reach me once, not with a letter this time. She called my office line and left a message with the front desk. She said it was important, like that word still worked on me. I didn't call back. Sable did. That was part of the boundary. If you break trust loudly, you don't get quiet access later. A year after the papers, I ran into Sable at a local charity event. Not as clients, just 2 people standing by a table of silent auction items. She asked how work was, and I told her the truth. Stable. We started talking more after the case was closed and clean. It wasn't fast. It wasn't dramatic. It was steady, like a system that passes inspection because the parts are real. One Saturday evening, we ate from a barbecue food truck and sat on a bench by the river. The water moved slow, and the air smelled like smoke and summer grass. Sable looked at me and said, You did the hard part, Bram. You chose quiet over chaos. I thought about that laundry room laugh. I thought about Keaton's door slamming. I thought about how paper doesn't lie, even when people do. In my line of work, the rule is simple. If the brake is worn, you replace it before someone falls. I red-tagged my marriage so my future wouldn't drop, and that choice saved more than my pride. Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel.